Welcome to Pigeon River Farm, doing farming right. I'm Robert Brown, the owner of Pigeon River Farm. Thank you for viewing. Well, good evening. In tonight's episode, we're going to talk about, to be a farmer, do you first need to be a mechanic? And that's going to be kind of a ambiguous kind of question, but I'll explain my world and what I have seen in the agricultural industry. And I guess first is, being a mechanic is a significant part of farming. Any type of mechanized farming requires a lot of skill to keep all the equipment running, and this is where we find a lot of farmers lacking. And I think it has driven a lot of farmers over time into bankruptcy. That's kind of one of the things I've noticed. A lot of the auctions I go to, you could see that one of two things have happened. Either the equipment has got so old and decrepit and unrepaired, and or they try to get by with new equipment. So you have these huge payments. You go buy brand new red or green or other colors, and you pay such a huge amount of money. So in my particular case, and that's probably the most interesting thing here, is how do I go about it? Well, we have a variety of older equipment. The reason I have older equipment is I'm capable of fixing. I have a long history of being a highly skilled mechanic, so I leverage that skill to make our older equipment. And that brings profit to the farm, makes the farm profitable for a smaller operation, predominantly because I'm capable of fixing the equipment and I don't have that expenditure of one of two things. One is buying very expensive new equipment, so I hopefully don't have any repair. So that's one option that many people take on. It's kind of like car ownership. Number two is that I pay for all my repairs. That's probably more desirable than buying these real expensive new equipment, but it can be very expensive also. Third, of course, the option I've taken is repair most of my equipment. Now, there's a significant downside to this, and the significant downside is I spend the time doing it. Now, the savings, I figure somewhere between $50 and $100 an hour if I'm being productive in my repair versus having it done on the outside. The flip side is I could also be doing something else, but I've found over the years that that something else still doesn't pay nearly as much versus that money going out. It would take many hours of other activities. So often what I'll have to do is, if I have equipment that needs fixing or overhauling, I will hire in someone to do work here in the farm. That's not an all time, but I have done this, and in turn I spend the time going ahead and doing repairs. So as an example, I got my chicken mobile, my tow combine as we call it. I had to highly modify that, so there was a lot of welding and cutting and making it optimized to pull the chicken mobile around. And I did work with the local weld shop, spent time over there working with them, but I got it to where I wanted. I'm kind of like my old farmall tractors. They just treat me really well, and I modernized them. So I got one of my favorite tractors. I got a Farmall M that's got live hydraulics, power steering, 3-point hitch on it. I mean, electronic ignition, all the stuff. And it really, in a sense, for an old tractor, really has a lot of modern amenities on it. And it doesn't cost me much. I think I paid, 25 years ago, I think I paid $2,000 for that tractor. And updated it. You know, it's got repairs over the years, engine overhaul and so on. But it has treated me really well, and I've got probably a couple thousand hours of operation on it, and just general repairs. The next one is a bigger tractor. I got International 766. That does a little of the heavy lifting around here. Since we're a grazing operation, I don't have the kind of field work I once did. So that tractor serves its purpose, hauling the hay and so on. But that ended up having a valve seat come out. And with the valve seat coming out, I had to pull the head off, disassemble it, send it to the machine shop, verify there was no damage to the pistons. So it was a disassemble and a reassemble. process. So it took some time. There was no doubt about it. And then we have situations like a lot of the small equipment. I end up my weed whacker, 3-point weed whacker, trimmer, fence line trimmer, failed. I had to go ahead and repair that. Every one of them would have been costly and or some that might have been covered on a warranty, but by the time I shipped it in and back, I just asked for the parts and they were good about getting them to me. One of the bigger challenges I've had here is a couple of my trucks. My big, been in the family forever, grain truck was getting in a pretty rough shape. So I decided to last winter do a major overhaul, complete body restoration, kind of like a collector car approach. So a new sheet metal, lots of welding and so on. Engine was completely overhauled, updated. So I had a fair amount of time in that, but I looked at the price of updating that truck with anything out there, and it still did the trick. Not used very often, so it'd be hard to justify spending $15,000 to say $25,000 for a used truck, where much less, I mean fraction of that, I was able to do all the rebuilding on this truck and have something viable. And then of course the heavy duty pickup truck ended up with eventually 200,000 miles. Imagine that, the engine started to knock. So I had to put an engine in that, another project. And then one of the things that really saves us an immense amount of money around here is my little Prius. My little Prius at 55 miles a gallon is so crazy handy for making a lot of deliveries, parts runs, all that. So it's kind of my Prius truck, I call it. And the Prius decided to turn on the little light on the dash and tell me the battery was going south. And of course, if anybody's owned any of the hybrids, know that the battery is in the range of $2,500 on up for repair. So that was not really a viable option. So I got a background in this. I went ahead, pulled the battery out. Remember, caution is key. If you notice, I'm wearing rubber gloves, high voltage rubber gloves, not high, just regular rubber gloves. And I have a background in this, so I understand it very well. I understand it very well. And for less than $100, the battery was back in the car and down the road it went. So I was still able to make a delivery. So these are the kind of things that happen in my particular world, let alone the buildings and other things that go on around here. But I guess the lesson I'm trying to get across is if you can gather mechanical skills and you have a desire to go into farming, I think it's going to be one of those things, chicken and the egg. Are you a mechanic first and a farmer second? If you are, I see a lot more profitability. It's my opinion. Other people may have a totally different situation. I'm just allergic to big coupon books that you have to make payments. That's one of my things. I'd like to keep the money here on the farm and invest through improvement in assets that are very valuable to me. Now, if a new tractor or a new truck was very valuable, I wouldn't hesitate to buy it. But I would buy it based on a need for it, not because I couldn't repair. So get the skills. I mean, YouTube and other venues are a great way to learn. The technical colleges in your community might be an excellent spot to learn and get the skills that it takes. Couple things that are critical, just solid mechanical skills, and a lot of people inherently have them. The next one is start studying electrical. Don't be scared of it. I mean, there's danger. I grant you there's danger. But once you understand electrical, it actually is relatively simple. Like about electrical is the rules never change. Once you understand it, you can apply the rules no matter what it is. If it's a light bulb, or it's a hybrid vehicle, anything in between, or a full electric vehicle. The next one is make sure you have learned some welding skills. I'm by no means a pro welder, trust me. I would say I'm a medium quality welder. I can get it to stick together, welds look okay, but when I need professional welding, that is a critical item, I go to a professional welder. But the rest of it is done on the farm here, and so don't be fearful to invest in some tools too, to make your job easier. And one of the big advantages you're going to have is when you go to the auctions, you can go ahead and you can find incredible deals. Again, you don't want to be working in a shop continuously, but be efficient. The incredible deals that you find that need a little bit of welding, might need a gearbox, might need a drive shaft, whatever it might be. I've dragged home about half the equipment that I have here was in some level of disrepair, because that, my big round baler, I bought that for very low money. It needed some repair. My swather was one of the better examples of that, where that one had a steering related problem. Nobody touched it. I bought the thing for a couple thousand under what it should have been. It ended up being literally a 50-cent roll pin. That was it. I didn't know what I was buying. I was just making a little bit of a hedge my bet that it isn't going to be real expensive parts, and sure enough it wasn't. It was it was hard to get to, but easy to repair. So with them items in mind, consider getting your skills more enhanced. And as long as it isn't too much, don't hesitate to contact me also. I said I've had a lifetime of mechanical work and technical work. So if you do have a question and you need another opinion on it, other than what you might find on YouTube or others, feel free to message me, and I'll give you at least the information I can convey to you. Well, I hope this little talk was beneficial, getting a little chance to see what we do here on the farm on a different perspective. And I thank you very much for your time, and have a great evening.